Barmy, I came as quick as I could. You know Laura will soon begin to suspect something, but I don't want her to know I am giving you advice. So you wanted to talk to me about the royal family and the wedding?
Well, yes, we have a potential crisis.
Oh God, not Bono. What has he done now? You'd have thought Irish economic crisis would be enough for him to deal with.
If only it was the little rock star. Have you seen the young folk that have been marching on the streets in London, and they shook the car of Charles and his wife? The first time in British history, the people have turned so publicly on the monarchy, and they were on their way back from the theatre.
You know I never watch the news. Do these mobs have no respect? Those British people are funny. In other countries they would have at least taken them hostage.
Well, that could happen quite easily according to my sources. I am deeply concerned about the royal wedding next year.
Yes, Tony is trying to get me a ticket, and possibly somewhere to stay at Palace or the Castle. I want to see Big Ben from my window.
Really? I keep calling David Cameron and he says numbers are looking tight. I think he is angry about the WikiLeaks stuff.
So what's the problem with the wedding? Is Kate getting nerves about marrying into the clan?
The country is broke, the people are angry about all the cuts, and there is real worry about who is going to pay for the wedding next year. That is if the monarchy is not toppled beforehand.
I thought these people were too lazy to riot. They love to take their tea breaks every 5 minutes. How can you do that and bring down a monarchy?
Let me put it to you straight. This wedding is the global event of next year. Governments around the world are looking for a guarantee for wall-to-wall coverage, to divert people's attention from their own problems.
That works every time.
Plus, world leaders have already booked their tickets and hotels, so there may be global repercussions.
Tough. What's the leader say? What's his name? David Angola. He should sort this mess out. The Brits need to start putting their own house in order rather than relying on us or the Europeans for once.
Name's Cameron. Easy mistake. To be honest, he is preoccupied with Christmas and getting food on the table. He's even struggling to pay his own bills. All these heads of states want me to sort it out, as leader of the free world, but what do I do?
Well, what about sending in our troops and creating a no-go area around Buckingham Palace until the wedding? And no threats to monarchy. I know some really good people if you need recommendations.
Can we really keep the family locked up until the big day? Plus it sends the wrong signals. Good idea though if things escalate.
Remember, you don't want a Saigon and having to airlift the family out of the country.
That would be real bad.
What about moving the wedding overseas? Las Vegas would love to have them, and they could do a spin-off royal show afterwards. Would be the hottest ticket in town.
The economy in Vegas needs a push, but will the British people go for that?
Remember, you are the president. You can make them do anything.
What about a more soft approach, like trying to make sure the country stays behind them?
Soft doesn't work, not yesterday and not tomorrow. What about a coup, close down Oxford and Cambridge, that will stop the students revolting? Install William as an absolute monarchy. Then you can ensure the royal wedding goes ahead and global leaders will get the feel-good factor they need. But William may be a little difficult. He is sensitive and may be worried about people being hurt. Perhaps go for the ginger one. He is more manageable. He will do anything anyone tells him. Have you tried talking to Sting? He knows a lot of people that could help in a coup.
George, I have thought about all these options. Harry, I have been informed, is talking to the Russians. Plus, I think the country is tired with the younger ones and their lifestyle. The other thing is that the British government is going to announce a massive cut in funding for the wedding. The world cannot cope with a cheap wedding. There will be riots on the streets.
Tony said it was going to be all glitz and glamour. I'm not using up my presidential air miles to go to a cheap ordinary wedding.
That's what all the world leaders are worried about.
It's a tough one. What about raising a tax to fund it?
You hate tax rises, I thought. I don't feel comfortable telling to the UK about their tax policy.
True, but I am talking a tax in the US. This is not just the British royal family. This is the royal family of the world. I am sure if you issued an emergency tax on Americans, they would understand. I can't see another option. The UK is broke. The Brits don't have enough money to organize a piss-up in a brewery, let alone a royal wedding.
Another tax on our people, but they would think that is insane left-wing stuff. I will be seen as a fool by my opponents and especially the Tea Party.
Insane, but the average American is more royalist than across the pond. Plus, think of the publicity for you when you hand over the check at the wedding. That will be the picture of the decade.
Well, I like taxes.
Do it. And remember, in return the government will have to sell us a stake in the royal family, and they will have to commit to a number of months a year promoting American causes.
Great idea, and I can demand that the first kid is born in the US. That would be a real happy moment for the nation and Michelle.
You know what? Get on the phone to Prime Minister and play tough. We can't let them just sit by and let the royal family go to the wall. It will make the global bank crisis look like a children's game. It sounds like the Prime Minister is losing control. You know how to play tough, Barmy, don't you?
Yes, if he wavers, maybe I can scare the country a little.
That's the spirit. Threaten to cut off their tea supplies. Trust me, the Brits are one cup of tea away from anarchy. The government will not stand up to you if you do that. If, however, all else fails, remember the fuck it button for the UK.
I did see that. Thought it was a joke from the handover in 2009.
I always threatened Blair if he didn't do as I say. Trust me, the world will be thanking you for doing this.